Welcome back. You're watching The Property Show with me, Manisha Natarajan. All right, let's bring you this very interesting story. Ever since the announcement of the construction of the Kempegowda International Airport in northern Bangalore, the fortunes of the area have turned. What was once largely farmland is now being titled as the gateway to South India. In fact, work is on for Bangalore to soon have a chance at becoming India's first ever Aerotroplis. Lakshmi Sivadas finds out how will this dream unfold.
Seven years since it started operations, the Kempegowda International Airport in Bangalore is today the third busiest airport in the country. A factor that has influenced development in the surrounding areas and which experts claim will drive growth in the coming years.
Currently, ORR and Whitefield are probably the economic hubs at this point of time. Having said that, these hubs are actually becoming saturated as we speak. Bangalore North is probably going to be the new evolving CBD.
This expected pattern of growth has led experts to start calling Bangalore a potential Aerotropolis. How is that different from an airport city? An airport city is practically a self-contained CBD, and an Aerotropolis contains an airport city at the center while encouraging urban development in areas surrounding it. In the case of Bangalore, that is a process that seems to have already begun.
Well, we're already seeing around Bangalore Airport, good quality residential has been coming up for a number of years. We're seeing some logistics and light industrial SEZs along that route. So if you put that mix together, it makes that corridor a great location.
So clearly it's evident that there is attraction towards that corridor. And I see approximately 4,000 to 5,000 acres of land between Yelahanka and the east part, even going beyond the airport, all coming under development, majority residential. It could also be industrial logistics and hardware parks. In addition to that, IT and ITES.
The airports at Hyderabad and Kochi are also vying to be Aerotropolises. However, experts say that Bangalore stands to win the race simply thanks to its existing economic prowess and the fact that development is gradually but definitely heading north.
Bangalore technically is the geographical center for South India. In terms of distance, it's the shortest distance for all airports in South India, and hence has the potential for being MRO base for all the airlines operating in this region. There's a lot of land available in and around the airport, and for a true airport-centric development. And the government has actually taken initiatives and has already started the aerospace park as well as the ITBD park.
However, issues like intercity connectivity and high land costs might be challenges that will have to be overcome for economic development of the area.
Challenge with the concept that's been explained of an Aerotropolis is it needs low density development, so a lot of logistics development which is low rise. And because of the airport, it needs to be relatively low rise. And that won't go with the relatively high cost of land that we see in any of the major metros, and particularly in Bangalore. That in order to make the development economically feasible, one needs to be looking at higher density, higher rise development.
While the government has proposed measures to boost connectivity, experts say that if it's not completed in a timely manner, Bangalore may lose out on the race to being an Aerotropolis to either Kochi or Hyderabad. From Bangalore, Lakshmi Sivadas for NDTV.
All right, connectivity and high cost of land seem to be the two major hurdles for the big plans of a Bangalore Aerotropolis to become a reality. Let's get an expert opinion from Mike Saxena, MD Land Services, JLL India, and also Srinivasan Gopalan, CEO, Ozone Group. Mr. Gopalan, thank you very much. I believe you've got projects in that upcoming Aerotropolis. Tell me, it all sounds really exciting, but is the Karnataka government doing enough to realize the potential? Because I've heard many cribs on that front.
I think I'm an optimist. If you look at my background, I come from Bombay, and I've seen the tremendous potential that Bangalore has, especially the North Bangalore, and that's why Ozone was a very clear a group that I wanted to get associated with. If you look at the background, I mean, Let us analyze this city. Why is it developing towards North Bangalore in 3 buckets? One is, let us see if there is enough demand for residential and commercial activities. Bangalore, if you look at, is the only city where the urbanization has been at the rate of 47% per annum over the last entire decade. So what was like 2004, 2005 in Hebel, if you really compare a Google map of 2005 and what it is today, you can actually see a sea change by way of developments which have happened at Hebel. So there is enough demand that is coming by way of new people coming into Bangalore. The second thing is, if you look at the statistics, especially I have my colleague from JLL there, 9 million square feet has been the absorption by way of what you call leasing in the last 6 months.
Okay.
So even if I say 100 square feet per person, there is a generation of employment of at least 1 lakh people just coming in the last 6 months. So there is, the point that I'm trying to make is, there is enough demand which is coming up. With commercial activities going up, obviously there will be serious demand for residential plots as well. So that's the first portion. Second portion, let's see, has the government done enough? That's your specific question. From Hebel to airport is close to 24 to 25 kilometers. There is an elevated road which actually reaches from Hebel to the airport in practically 18 to 20 minutes. No signals, elevated highways again created by the government. You look at what are the other facilities that the government has given. Look at the periphery roads. All of them come and join at Hebel, whether it's Electronic City. It practically would take around 30 to 35 minutes from a place like Electronic City to reach airport through these peripheral roads as well. So that is on the road side. Look at the development in and around the airport. 3,000 acres of land has been allocated only for hardware park. And that is a reality. Shell is moving in June 2015. And Infosys, we saw a lot of story about Infosys, so on and so forth, but I'm very, very bullish that this region is actually going to flourish.
Okay, all right, let me get Mayank's opinion then. Let's get Mayank's opinion, because we have limited time to discuss that, but I think you've said or made a couple of very important points. Mayank, rapid urbanization, we all know the Bangalore story. We also know that it's been one of the cities which has actually defied the dullness in the commercial realty market, but it just put these two together. I mean, you know, on camera everybody says great things, but off camera I've spoken to enough Bangalore developers to know the challenges which any developer who has a project in Devnahalli is facing today. He's not able to sell. So yes, there is potential. My question is, have we actually jumped the gun on potential? Has everybody gone ahead, launched too many projects, and now there is not enough demand, and that gap will take about 5 to 6 years to actually get completed or get bridged?
So interestingly, if you look at Bangalore, has been one city where government does something or government is not doing the work required from their side. It continues to grow. It's the only city which has grown in last 10 years without huge amount of instability and so many government changes. Okay. So because the inherent requirements for the business to grow are there in that city, which is very different from the other cities that you
So you're saying that this whole dream of Aerotroplis and making Bangalore the first Aerotroplis city of the country is actually something which will happen?
Definitely yes, because there are only two things required from the government side which would help it to happen faster. One is the availability of water, and the second is the starting an airport link metro rail. Okay. So if government goes out to put these two things, I think so they would jumpstart the entire development of an Aerotroplis city much faster than actually what's going to happen on the ground. Okay. Secondly, I think so at least we need to applaud our government on terms that government has started thinking and planning on terms of doing an Aerotroplis city for Bangalore, which was even not the case for Amsterdam. So if you look at there, people have spoken about, done it and all that, but it was never planned. It was accidentally then discovered that this city has become an Aerotroplis city, or the city has developed around the airport. Going said that, because Bangalore leads in the business environment in the country and is a true global city, government does it or government won't do it. today or tomorrow, it would definitely become an airport.
Okay,
Yeah.
it will happen. It's inevitable. All right. So let's come to those three big problems that I see. And these are minor challenges. If really there's a will, there's always a way. So one is the water problem. We all hear Mr. Gopalan of the huge water problem. Second, Mike Holland said and brought about a really important point. He said land is no longer cheap around Bangalore airport anymore. So in case you want to actually do some development, you have to be allowed to go high rise. And FAR has to be increased for you to be able to recover costs. And that by its security nature and the fact that it's next to the airport cannot be allowed. So it has to be low development. Run us through your views on these two challenges. How are you going to overcome these?
Manisha, as far as ozone is concerned, we have already aggregated close to 160 acres of land at historical prices.
Okay.
So this helps us to make a great community which is in 160 acres, which is the largest in Bangalore. And it has every facility available in that, including water. So being one of the early adopters of North Bangalore, we do not face those challenges. But yes, in general, the land prices are going up. And the prices have to go up if developers have to make their margins or at least survive in this competitive area.
Okay. All right. So Mayank, then I'm going to come to the question that, there is also Delhi airport, which has a lot of land, and we've seen hotels which have come up there are pretty much lying vacant. The occupancy rates are really, really poor and dismal. In fact, it's discouraging people to go ahead and actually build more real estate around the airport. So are you saying that Bangalore is that much more robust, that this will be a way more successful model, and the failure of Delhi shouldn't be actually something that we should reflect on when looking at Bangalore?
So if you look at 2-3 things, Delhi as Delhi as an aerotropolis city, is not actually in true form, because the airport was actually anyhow part of the Delhi.
Okay.
And the only thing that we added was, going ahead and putting suddenly 5,000 rooms, next to it. Without even having any commercial or residential development in and around it, which was, the way the land holding is that it is not even possible.
Okay.
In case of Bangalore, if you look at, the airport is very, very far from the city. So airport is almost 40 kilometers away from the city, which makes it more important for the city living development to come around the airport. Because today the times have changed. If you look at, when the civilization started off, the city used to grow on the stations, and now you got airport, so airport becomes the focus point. So you like it, you don't like it, the cities will continue to go in and around the airport, and they will circumference the airport. So said that, what happens is that unless you, and this is a classic case where the Bangalore government has gone wrong. Ideally, they should have planned an airport city, they would have acquired the land accordingly, and they would have put the basic infrastructure so that in future when all these things comes up, you don't face a challenge or a hurdle that you don't have an infrastructure, the cost has gone too high, it is very becoming difficult, you can't go high rise. So it is, all these things would have been sorted out.
Okay. All right. So there have been some mistakes, but they can be corrected. Mr. Gopalan, is that your opinion? And then if that's the opinion, tell us, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, how long do you think it will take for us to actually feel proud of the first Aerotroplis of India?
I'm very bullish about North Bangalore. I think it's not even seen the basic development that is required there. We are very long in North Bangalore, and 5 to 7 years down the line, it's going to be a buzzing place. There are already a lot of private developers who have taken up land there, and a lot of residential complexes are coming. Just to give, from an infrastructure point of view, there are 14 schools which have already started operations there. You have Ryan International, you have the Canadian International School, Stonehill. From a hospital point of view, you have Columbia Asia, and very soon Urbana is going to have one of the world's best hospitals, which is going to be housed in Urbana. So moving forward, I think if you look at any city, it starts from south and it actually moves northwards, and I think we are exactly in the perfect corridor that we need to be in.
All right, Mr. Gopalan.
And as far as water is concerned, there is a lot of water. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to, unfortunately, I'll have to wrap out here, but thank you very much. Very interesting views, you know. I have to continue to play the devil's advocate, but I think they were convincing views here that it's a good story to hold on to from a real estate perspective, because it's a real estate show and we are expecting our viewers to also gain from this. So North Bangalore, that's the place to be in. Mayank, you would be confident of it?
Manisha, I would like to add one more thing.
Okay.
Let's not look at 4 years, 5 years. Even the government wants to look at in 2020 and 2032. So that's the plan. But yeah,
if I would say 2020, Mr. Gopalan would just leave his seat and say, no, 2020 is not an acceptable date.
No, so you know, let's accept the fact that, you know,
I'm a developer, and
so it would take
and would want things to happen fast.
Okay, all right. So, but it will take time, Mayank. Is that what you're saying?
So you know, it would take time. The government has planned for 2020 and 2032, and we all know the way things work. That you know, you may not see a fully developed city function by 2032, but may go to 2040 also. But then said that, you can't deny the fact that the city is going to develop in and around the airport, and airport will become a very focal point and a basis for that city to grow. So, you know, if somebody goes and invests in and around airport, he will not go wrong in a long term. In a short term, yes, I understand that he would face the issues of the market swings, or he would also face the issues of the infrastructure which are there.
Demand, right.
Which is not there.
Okay, so you're saying that it's a really long-term story here. Short term is 5 years and long term is actually longer, isn't it? 2030? Is that what you're saying?
So minimum
2030. All right, we're going to wrap on that, because yes, if you've got patient capital, why not North Bangalore and the Aerotroplis? Thank you so much, gentlemen. Mr. Gopalan and Ms. Saxena, thanks very much for joining us on this discussion. Deepak M. Nayak.